The next link is the documents. If you cannot locate your documents, if you click on this link, it will bring you to a place where all the documents are. For instance, this morning I forgot what year the Constitution was written, so I had to come back over here and look at document C to see when the Constitution was signed by Toussaint Louverture. So I came back and I found the year. Okay, so all the documents that you need as far as to refer to your evidence-based documents are right here under documents. So we got our graphic organizer, our documents. Today I'm going to go over this with you, which is the template for the essay. If you click on template for essay, you are going to want to make your own copy of this template. One thing I will definitely encourage you to do is make sure that when you do make a copy of this template, that you clear out the contents that I do today for my example. So if you're doing it, you'll find out that you can't write on it because you got to highlight it and eliminate the information, okay? And then you can go back and do it, okay? Or use it. So let's today look at this template for writing your DBQ and what it is utilized for. The first question I want to ask you all, though, is if you are writing this essay, what's the purpose of a document-based essay? Why are you writing it, Noah?
It usually depends on the question that's asking, but for this one, we're writing it to show how we should celebrate Toussaint Louverture.
Great. Okay, very good. And I like the word celebrate. File that because you can use that for your introduction. So, yeah, we're going to look for 3 things in the very beginning, the introduction. The introduction is telling you a little bit about the information of what's to come. What are you trying to prove? What's the purpose of why you're writing this? So when I look at these 3 things, I know in my introduction, I have to come up with a hook, something that entices the listener and the reader. I also have to give some background information, like who is Toussaint Louverture? And then also I want to talk about my thesis statement. And Noah, you said it, where you said celebrate, and I like that word. In the original document, it tells us that how should we remember Toussaint Louverture? And you can use either one, okay? So just keep that in mind. That's great. So when I'm thinking about this, I was thinking about this sentence. Hang on. My first sentence that I came up with is this. There are several famous people in the history books, but not too many people achieve fame and glory by not being determined to make other lives better than their own. So I'm giving people some type of, mystery or background information. Have I mentioned Toussaint Louverture yet? Everyone? No. So my next sentence, I am saying that Toussaint Louverture is who I'm talking about. And it is the person that I'm talking about who helped others by those 3 things: the liberation of slaves, political leader, and strong military commander. So I am now telling people, yes, this is the person I'm going to talk about, and I'm going to talk to you about him in these 3 different roles. Okay, so that's part of my background information. Have I mentioned my thesis statement yet? No. So my thesis statement I have is here. My thesis statement says that the question is, how should we remember such a great leader of his time? What role did Toussaint Louverture play in the liberation of Saint Dominique? And how will the children of today's Haiti continue with his legacy? This essay, now I'm telling you what I'm doing, why I'm doing it. This essay will help to provide some information to support the how remembering Toussaint Louverture will keep his achievements in the minds and hearts of Haiti in its future. So I'm telling you right straight out, here it is. So when you're writing, you have your hook or grabber, which I have here. I tell a little bit about the background of why I'm writing this. What's the purpose of why I'm sharing this with you? And the thesis statement. If I've included all those, then I've written my first paragraph. That's fine. I've done everything that I need to do in this paragraph. Do I have to put any evidence in there? No. Okay. The evidence is going to come in the body of the essay in 3 different paragraphs. Okay. Are there any questions about this first part of the essay, the introduction? No one has any questions for me? Okay. If you come up with a question, just let me know. The second is we are now, we got a little issue here. Okay, this is supposed to be white. So the second part of our journey here, yeah. Second part of our journey asks, if you're highlighting this or whatever you're doing, please don't touch my stuff because I'm using it. Thanks. Okay. The second paragraph, or the second paragraph is going to be your first time that you mention any of the evidence. Okay, so you will be using the evidence here. So let's take a look at our text evidence. There's 3 things that you are going to do in each one of your supporting paragraphs. You're going to introduce the topic, you're going to cite the evidence, and you're going to explain the evidence. Okay, so you want to do each one of those. The first area we are going to work on is liberator of slaves. So you know that when you go to your graphic organizer for your evidence, that you are going to use that first column all the way down, okay? Whether it's document A, B, or C. You only need 1 bit of evidence, okay? So let's start with our introduction. Well, let's see. I know Toussaint Louverture was a slave, and I know that this paragraph has to have some kind of introduction about why he would want to liberate his country. Well, it was under what kind of rule? It was a colony. Who owned it? Who owned what?
France.
France. Okay. So in my first sentence, I might want to explain that, and that's exactly what I did. So I said Toussaint Louverture was born into slavery, yet became a free slave and helped to liberate others, eventually making Saint Dominique the first country of free slaves. So that's my introduction to what I'm going to talk about. Okay. And then I want to go to my evidence sorter. So now I'm going to go over here to my evidence sorter. And now I got to find some evidence that I want to use to support that Toussaint Louverture was a liberator of slaves. You have 3 choices that you can use. I'm sure you can find others. Okay, I have tons, but I just think I'm going to use this first one. So in 1794, the revolutionary government in France under Robespierre abolished slavery. I think I'm going to use that one. So what I'm going to do is with my highlighter, I am going to highlight the text. I'm going to copy the text, and I'm going to put it in my writing template. So I would put it here. Okay. So when you go to, when you go to highlight it, hang on, you'll see that the text, okay, is highlighted. I copied it. Oops. I copied the text and it came highlighted, which is great. Okay. But can the text just sit there in the paragraph? I cited it, but did I cite it correctly? No, I didn't. So I go over here to this thing called the Text Evidence Helper. And I click that on. And what this is it helps you to fit in evidence smoothly, transition smoothly into your paragraph. So here are some examples of things you might want to say. The text states in the document on page 5, according to the amendment, the author states, or just these are some of your starters for the transition. The one that I really like that I think I'm going to use right now is in the document or according to the document, either one of those. Okay. So when I go back up here, I got to add something in front of this, and this is what I chose to write. Okay. In document A, the timeline of abolition, that was the name of the document. It states in 1794, my citation. Okay. So I go back up to my graphic organizer and I say to myself, okay, did I introduce the topic? Yes or no? Thumbs up or thumbs down? Did I introduce the topic that I'm going to talk about in my first paragraph? What am I talking about in my first paragraph?
How Toussaint Louverture liberated slaves.
Yep. And then I have my document here. I'm citing my evidence. Have I explained my support or my claim? Have I explained the evidence yet? Number one thing that students forget to do, and you will only get partial credit, they forget to explain why that text is important. So I have to explain why. Well, why did I pick that quote? I can tell you why I picked that quote. The reason why I picked that quote is that it shows that Toussaint Louverture told his troops to stop once France liberated the colonies. He stopped fighting with them when he found out that they were going to have all the colonies be free. So Toussaint Louverture was like, okay, everything is cool. So when I put it in my own words, I have to support why I picked that. And this is what I wrote. I explained it and I said, the cited evidence, I believe, supports the claim that Toussaint Louverture was a liberator of slaves. I'm going back to say what it was. Because he supported France after they abolished slavery in the colonies. Toussaint, according to the text, stopped the revolt once slavery was abolished. So I'm explaining why I chose that quote. You might have a different quote that you pick, and it might have a different meaning for you. Okay? Remember, you're not using any of my work. Okay? My inference from the text is that I believe that Toussaint Louverture only began to support France after that they recognized and abolished slavery in France and its colony. This claim helps to support the fact that Toussaint Louverture as a liberator of slaves. Okay. Now, I know that was a quick 2 paragraphs, but I want to show you what you do once you get you'll have your whole thing done. You'll go through everything. And are you going to leave it in this format? No, you're going to put it in a final format. So let me show you how easy it is to put it in your final format. What you're going to do when you're all done with all 5 paragraphs is you're going to highlight the text that you have, and you're going to go up here to File, and you're going to say New Document. Okay? And that new document is going to be where your final essay sits. So you could just name it, Mrs. Dillon's final essay. Okay? And I am going to paste, oh, this always does this, sorry. And I'm going to paste what I have in my first, hang on. So I'm going to take my first paragraph that I'm done with. I'm going to copy it. And please don't delete the stuff until I'm done, okay? And then I'm going to go to my final, Mrs. Dillon's final essay, and I'm going to paste it here. Then I'm going to go back to my writing template, and I'm going to capture what I wrote for the first topic. Hang on. Don't worry about the color coding, but okay. Copy this. I'm going to put it with my final essay. And then once I have it here, I can now make everything the same color font. I can eliminate the highlighting that I had. Some people like to eliminate the highlight at the end to make sure they have a yellow, a blue, and a green. Okay. And then I can work my magic to making it look like it is an essay. Sorry. You may have to just work with your back button a little bit. But in the last few minutes, okay, in less than 20, no, it was less than 20, in 17 minutes, we have written our first 2 paragraphs. Okay, and for some of you, that is a task. So then you would go on, in my writing template, I would go on to, okay, I have the rest of my information that's there, okay? Of course, there's nothing here, but I would go on and I would continue. For political leader, I have my information in my example here for you. That this part, oops, hang on. The according to the amendment part is taken from the evidence, the text evidence helper, which is up here. That's why it's color coded that way. I have my text that I took from my graphic organizer with evidence in it. That's blue. And then I have I then explain my evidence and why it's my evidence. Please make sure to not forget that part. A lot of students forget that. And then you would copy this and put it back into your final essay template.